Imagine you wake up tomorrow morning and the news is everywhere. Scientists have done it. A single pill, one dose, permanently eliminates your need for sleep. No withdrawal, no side effects, fully tested, fully safe. And as of today, it's free for everyone on Earth. Within 24 hours, 8 billion people take it. And for the first few days, it feels like a miracle. You have morning and nights. You have time you've never had before. Time to build, time to connect, time to create, to finally do the things you kept pushing to tomorrow. The world feels electric. Cities glow around the clock. Productivity shoots through the roof. People are calling it the greatest leap forward in human history. But here's the thing about miracles, they have a way of turning. Because what happens next, to the cities, to the companies, to the people, to the planet, it's not a story about progress, it's a warning. In the beginning, the world transformed fast, faster than anyone predicted. Factories that used to run two shifts now run continuously. Amazon warehouses process orders at triple capacity. Construction crews work through what used to be the night, and suddenly skyscrapers that took 3 years to build are going up in 18 months. Stock markets begin operating 24 hours a day. CEOs stop flying home on weekends because there are no weekends anymore. Time has become one long, unbroken stream of opportunity. Think about the hustle culture that exists right now. The 4 a.m. wake up calls people brag about online, the sleep is for the weak mentality, the glorification of grinding until you break. Now imagine that, but with no biological limit stopping it anymore. No point where your body physically forces you to stop. That world doesn't rest, it accelerates. And at first, numbers look incredible. GDP charts go vertical. Every industry reports record output. Tech companies begin announcing products that would have taken a decade to develop. The headlines are breathless. But beneath the numbers, something is already beginning to fracture. Here's what nobody thought about when they swallowed that pill. Sleep wasn't just rest, it was a nightly reset button on the human mind. Every night, without you knowing it, your brain was doing something critical, processing the emotional weight of the day, feeling trauma away, dulling the raw edge of anger and grief and anxiety, and giving you the one thing modern life almost never offers, a genuine break from yourself. Without it, the emotions you feel today don't get processed tonight, they just carry forward, fully loaded into tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that. Ask yourself, have you ever had a stretch of truly bad sleep for even 3 or 4 nights in a row? Maybe during a stressful week, or maybe something painful happened. Think about who you were at the end of those 4 days, the patience you didn't have, the small things that made you snap, the way everything felt slightly heavier, slightly more threatening, slightly more personal than it probably deserved. Now imagine that, but permanent and global. Within weeks of the pill, psychologists begin seeing something they had no framework for before. Anger levels in the general population start climbing, not dramatically at first, just a low level background aggression that people chalk up to the pace of the new world. Road rage incidents spike, domestic disputes spike, online toxicity, already at historic highs, goes somewhere that doesn't have a name yet. Because without sleep, the human loses its capacity to regulate emotion the way it was built to. Right now, even with humans sleeping 8 hours a night, we're already pushing Earth's system to the edge. The carbon output, the pollution, the resource extraction, all of it is happening with the species that is offline for a third of every day. Remove that third. Factories that were running at very dangerous output levels don't stop at midnight anymore. They run all night, every night. Every factory on Earth continuously, 365 days a year, producing, burning, emitting. Cargo ships that used to dock and sit idly in the harbor now turn around immediately and go back. Freight trucks that used to pull over and let the driver sleep now keep moving because the driver doesn't need to stop. Air traffic triples within a year. The highways never empty. The skies over major cities, which used to get a few hours of relative quiet, now carry constant noise, constant exhaust, constant light. Scientists tracking carbon emissions watch the graph go vertical in a way that makes the pre-pill era look gentle. And nature, which was already losing, now loses faster. The forest that used to experience night, that ecological pause where certain species hunted, certain plants processed, certain insects pollinated in the dark, now exists under permanent human encroachment. Light pollution, already one of the most underreported environmental crises on Earth, now blankets regions that used to have darkness. Bird migration patterns, which depend on natural light cycles, collapsed. Entire ecosystems that built around the rhythm of night and day begin to fail because the rhythm of night and day have been broken, not by the planet but by us. And here's the quiet irony nobody saw coming. The pill that was supposed to give humans more time ends up accelerating the destruction of the world they needed that time to live in. Not every company survives this new world, and the ones that do look nothing like what you'd expect. The obvious winners are the giants: Amazon, Tesla, manufacturing conglomerates, logistic companies, anything built on output and volume. They flourish, at least initially, in a world that never stops. But the losses are stranger. The entire sleep industry, a $585 billion global market, evaporates overnight. Mattress companies, sleep aid pharmaceuticals, melatonin supplements, white noise machine brands, sleep clinics, gone. Not declining, gone. Within a year, entire sectors that employed millions of people worldwide simply cease to exist. Hotels shrink, not disappear, but shrink dramatically. When humans don't sleep, a hotel room is a place to change clothes and store luggage. Room rates collapse, chains close in thousands of locations. The real estate built around human rest, and there is an almost incomprehensible amount of it, suddenly no purpose. And entertainment. Think about how you consume content right now. You binge a show for a few hours, then sleep, then come back. You have natural stopping points built into your life by biology. In a world without sleep, entertainment companies face a consumer who never has to stop, and who quickly, terrifyingly becomes impossible to satisfy. The demand for content becomes insatiable. The competition for attention becomes so extreme that what gets made becomes darker, faster, louder, and more extreme, because ordinary is now invisible in a world where everyone is awake and consuming all the time, forever. So who does well in this world? Now who do you think? The people who survive, psychologically at least, are not the most productive. They're not the ones who fill every waking hour with output and achievement. The people who hold themselves together are the ones who, even without biological sleep forcing them to stop, choose to create their own versions of stillness. The mediators, the people who walk slowly and look at things, the ones who sit in discomfort instead of immediately reacting to it. The communities that built rituals around doing nothing, not because their bodies demand it anymore, but because they understand instinctively that the mind needs a kind of darkness even if the body doesn't. The ones who collapse fastest are the ones who are already running on empty before the pill. The people who are using sleep as their only emotional release valve. Their only moment of genuine pause. Without that valve, the pressure builds. And pressure, when it builds with nowhere to go in the human mind, does not stay internal forever. Mental health systems, already strained before the pill, are overwhelmed within months. Institutions that were designed around a world where at least part of the human suffering was relieved by unconsciousness now face a full, unmediated weight of human pain, awake, aware, and going nowhere. The pill was supposed to be the greatest gift ever to humanity. More time, more progress, more of everything. But what it actually revealed, slowly, then all at once, is something we never had the language for before because it always just assumed. The world needed us to stop. Not just our bodies, the world. The ecosystems built around the rhythm of human absence. The relationships that depended on us being unavailable for a few hours. The version of ourselves that could only emerge after we spent a few hours somewhere none of our problems could reach. Sleep wasn't a time stolen from your life. It was the reason the rest of your life was worth anything. And in the world of the pill, humanity learns this the hard way. One sleepless, relentless, luminous, furious, and unforgiving night at a time. So the next time you find yourself lying there, staring at the ceiling, wishing you didn't need this, consider that the need is the point. Consider that a brain that knows it needs to rest is not a brain that is failing you. It is a brain that still knows something worth knowing.